Welcome to Gameonysus Weekly, your one-stop shop for video game news, keeping up with the biggest stories so you don't have to. I'm your host, Janet Garcia, and today we're talking about NFTs in gaming, studio acquisitions, and recapping the Game Awards. All these stories and so much more on today's episode. And before we get into it, I just want to thank y'all for your flexibility these last few weeks. I had like a weird episode drop for last episode, and then the last episode that would have aired just didn't because I got way too busy and had to go out of town that weekend, and I was completely exhausted by the time I came back. So I appreciate the patience on getting this episode out the gate. That being said, this will be the last episode of 2021. Thank y'all so much for being here and rocking with me. I'm recording this on December 18th, and I'm taking the next 2 weeks off to relax and hopefully get some planning done. I do think that, like, in my mind, I'm like, I will both relax and completely reconfigure how I make content. I feel like those are indirect, and then also somehow beat all these games. I feel like those are in direct opposition of each other, and I don't think there's as much time in this break as I think there is. So my number one priority is going to be to rest and recharge, but I am hoping to come up with some fun ideas on how to, restructure things, promote stuff more, and just kind of shake it up and make some improvements going into 2022. And with that being said, let's get into it. Starting with a set of articles written by Stephen Totilo over at Axios, the first line, headlines, prominent industry names announce new NFT-based games. The article reads, veteran game designers Will Wright, The Sims SimCity, and Peter Molyneux, Black and White Fable, announced plans to make new NFT-based games during a weekend showcase held by NFT gaming company Gala Games. Why it matters. It's part of an attempt to prove that NFT gaming is legit, trading on the reputations of two prominent men who haven't made hits in many years. While establishment game publishers have been talking about getting in on NFT gaming and drawing fan blowback in the process, nearly every NFT game that has been released so far has come from indies and upstarts. Molyneux said he's working on a business simulator called Legacy, while Wright, more loosely, is pegged to create a game that will work around existing collectible Gala NFTs. Gala also announced that veteran studio Certain Affinity is creating an NFT first-person shooter. Reminder, in the context of gaming, NFTs are digital items that, through blockchain technology, are said to be unique, ostensibly owned by the player, purchaser, and usable in games. But skepticism around the sector is as plentiful as the millions of dollars being invested in it by venture capital firms. Beyond questions of environmental impact are those about how NFTs help gameplay and what they can do that standard video game items can't. Between the lines, Gala heavily promotes the concept of NFTs as a means to being a virtual landowner and tries to stoke land rushes before its games are out. It's already selling virtual land in Legacy prior to its launch. And then there's a follow-up piece written about this called NFT Games Fueled by Speculation, also from Steven, also from Axios, which says plots of virtual land for veteran developer Peter Molyneux's upcoming NFT-based game Legacy have sold for more than $15 million based on a check of items marked sold out in the online marketplace for the forthcoming game. Why it matters. A lot of the money in NFT gaming now is based on speculation. NFT gaming companies like legacy publisher Gala encourage virtual land purchases long before the games that contain that land launch. That's a particularly risky offering in this case, given Molyneux's notoriety for overpromising and under-delivering. Speaking of flying blind, Gala invited owners of its founders nodes to vote last week whether to allow Legacy and another game on its platform prior to the games or their creative teams being revealed. Gala assured voters that the then secret game was sure to be an instant hit, and the votes passed. The big picture. The video game industry has long been built around hype for the future as publishers incentivize players to pre-order games months in advance to secure exclusive rewards. This approach with pre-release NFTs extends that dramatically, given players can just bid about anything on an item for a game no one has yet reviewed or played. And the piece ends with, but it's awfully hard to discern what any of these gaming NFTs should be worth. Ubisoft's first batch, a set of 2,000 gun skins distributed to players for free last week, has begun to show up on crypto marketplaces. Asking prices for largely the same item on the marketplace object range from $634 to $423,000. The highest listed offer is $21 currently. So yeah, I think given the popularity of gaming and the way that gaming is inherently digital and so much of what we did, even taking aside from DLC or pay, skins that you can unlock or skins that you can buy. So much of joy in gaming can come from having digital stuff, right? Like thinking of even, getting items in Animal Crossing, right? That is very much like, oh, I really want this thing. It's not real, but it's mine, and I can do things with it. I can put it places, I can decorate, I can make my house or my island my own, things like that. I think that fact inherently makes it like really receptive to NFTs, like gaming as a general space, because we're already doing things that are like that. I think the hard line here is the fact that NFTs are fundamentally different, are often priced differently, and also have a large environmental impact due to the kind of always online nature. The amount of energy to power that is substantial. And then if you scale that up, especially as gaming continues to grow, it gets really dark really fast. So that's not good. But I do think that gaming does lend itself to this in that sense. That being said, there is a lot of pushback. We're going to talk about that in the next story. So the real question is, for me, is when is it going to become mainstream? And I think at this point, we're trying to put that off as long as possible. And, on the other end of the spectrum, there are movements and pushes to make NFTs more environmentally friendly, but we're not really there yet. And also, like, decreasing the environmental impact is better than not. But not having the environmental impact would be the ideal situation in terms of, energy conservation. So, yeah, well, it's just that people are just kind of knocking on the door, and I'm just waiting for it to fall. And I think 2022 is going to be a big year for that, even if it's the push and pull between companies and fans on whether or not those are going to get integrated into games. But I do think it's probably just a matter of time. It's hard for me to imagine a world where this doesn't totally break through. And I think once the floodgates are open, they're going to stay that way for the most part. Because on the whole, like, things like that are integrated into games don't just go away. I remember us having those conversations about DLC and skins that you pay for. Like, at one point, that was really egregious and weird, and not something people were okay with, and they thought it was crazy that you could pay money to get like a different horse or something. But now that's very, very standardized. And if I had to guess, even though it's not necessarily what I want to happen, I would imagine NFTs will go that same way. But as I said, we're not quite there yet. This piece also comes from Steven at Axios with the headline, Game Studio Backtracks on NFTs After Backlash. The developers of upcoming first-person shooter Stalker 2 said on Twitter last night that they are canceling anything NFT related for their game. Why it matters. It was the first prominent NFT backtrack from a gaming company. Catch up quick. On Wednesday, Ukrainian development studio GSC Game World boasted in a press release of being the first AAA game to allow the community to own a piece of the action. It would offer this through the implementation of NFTs. Its initial plan, sell NFTs or non-fungible tokens, that would grant the owner the opportunity to have their face put on a character in the game. Backlash ensued online from players and observers objecting to NFTs. Critics of NFTs in the traditional gaming community decry them as a wasteful scam, say they don't improve games, and drive speculation untethered to real value. On Thursday afternoon, GSC issued a lengthy statement saying the NFT efforts around Stalker 2 would help fund the game and wouldn't affect gameplay. But within hours, GSC deleted that statement and tweeted a new one, canceling its NFT plans. The tweet has been liked more than 112,000 times. Between the lines, the NFT gaming sector has seen more than $2 billion in investment this year, largely given to startups and upstarts looking to build a presence in the gaming industry. That has spurred establishment players to also tease or roll out NFT gaming plans, arguing that they'll usher in a new age of players profiting from the games they play. Most of these big players are publicly traded mega publishers, some of which are balancing internal backlash with presumed shareholder enthusiasm. GSC has been around since the 1990s, but is a smaller video game company and is self-publishing Stalker 2. In its reversal, GSC indicated it was reacting to fan pressure. "We hear you," the studio wrote. "If you care, we care too." What's next? GSC's about face may influence other mid-sized gaming companies' decision to explore NFTs as they weigh backlash against potential profit. Also relevant is larger publisher Ubisoft's ongoing rollout of free cosmetic-only NFTs for its Ghost Recon Breakpoint game. Those NFTs have been snatched up by players but are attracting only rock-bottom offers on crypto markets. It's early, but that suggests an initial lack of demand, at least for NFTs that aren't tied to any in-game play-to-earn system. And as I'm always saying on this show, grand opening, grand closing. There's a lot of interesting stuff to pick apart here, and I did discuss this if you watched KFGD from this past Friday. We talked about this story a little bit. This is surprising in some senses. I think it's always... if I had to bet on whether a company will roll back a decision they made based on fan reaction, I will always bet that they will not roll it back, because historically that has been the case, especially too when you are within, the outside looking in. It's always difficult to deduce as well, like how much of that backlash is actually significant enough to make an impact, or is it just kind of loud? So certainly I always will bet on the companies sticking with what they decided, especially because that's like something that they likely carefully thought out and are unlikely to inherently roll back. Not because I'm not saying that fans are wrong in any of these instances. I just usually it is unusual for a company to roll something back. So I think the fact that they did roll this back speaks to what they were getting on their side and what they felt based on fan reaction. So that really speaks to that negative pushback and how intense that must have been for them to make that decision, especially after like doubling down, because they did post it out and they were like, all right, we're doing this, and people were like, we don't like it, and they're like, it's gonna be good, and then people were like, we don't like it, and then they're like, we're not gonna do it, and then they're like, okay, we like that, you're not gonna do it. That was pretty much the trajectory of this story. But the negative side of it is I know who you really are, and that this is something you want to do, and you can't do it now because we won't let you, but once you can, you probably will. And I think the line, if you care, we care too, is significant in the sense that that also means that we inherently did not care. Like, oh, well, if you care, we care. But if you do not care, we do not care. And I think not having a moral ground on this means that we will be seeing it again the second that they are able to add that to their game. Next up, Bungie's head of HR has stepped down. This comes from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. It reads, Bungie head of HR, Gail Daunt, is stepping down from her role at the company after more than 14 years, effective today, IGN has learned. In an email circulated to employees today, which IGN has seen in full, Daunt reflected on her time at the company, saying she wants to do everything in her power to make sure everyone who works here has a safe, welcoming, and supportive environment. She then cited the need for the company's team to move forward with membership largely comprised of people new to Bungie. I know that they need to be trusted to be your advocates, not labeled as enablers or seen as company resources to provide bad actors with safe harbor, she wrote. Daunt is officially stepping out of her role as Senior Employee Relations Manager, but it is not clear whether or not she will remain with the company. In her email, she states that she, quote, will work with Holly Barbakovi, Chief Police Officer, and the leadership team at Bungie to determine the appropriate next steps. Also in her message, Daunt mention that her time at Bungie had included working through deeply challenging interpersonal conflicts, including termination of employees for performance, bad behavior, and for discrimination, racism, and sexual harassment. She added that this included reporting her own abuser, a man, an executive, and someone I thought was my friend at Bungie, which resulted in Bungie firing him. Daunt concluded in her email, I am proud of the work I did at this company. I believe I made recommendations that were in the best interest of our people and in the service of the company we wish to become. I also believe we made some mistakes, and that to become the better version of ourselves, the company I know we can be, we have to acknowledge and confront them in good faith and grow together. It then continues to contextualize that this is coming less than a week after an extensive report that Rebecca Valentine over at IGN, same person writing this article, did on Bungie's work culture, which has a long history of sexism, boys club culture, crunch, HR protecting abusers, and is sort of trying to work through those things toward a better studio, but is kind of struggling to abandon its problematic past completely and sort of divorce itself from all that and move forward and become, the company that it wants to be. So sort of that internal struggle that's going on at Bungie right now and has been going on over years is that report. So go ahead and check out that article too, just to get, more information and insight into Bungie, which a lot of staff, former and present, really responded positively to that report, which to me further speaks to the ways that report validates a lot of things that have happened, presumably, right? Since, I'm not technically there, I don't want to ever say like this is for sure happening, but I think the fact that I've seen so many developers be so positively responsive and sort of been thankful for that reporting, I think further speaks to the validity of the reporting, on top of the fact that, IGN's a reputable site, like Rebecca's an incredible reporter, but I think all of that just kind of, compounds how important that report is, I think, in a lot of ways. So yeah, I mean, not a lot to say on this. I think it just speaks to that continued struggle more than anything, right? We don't really know why this change is happening now. It doesn't seem at this time of me reading this article that it was updated with any comment from Bungie. So yeah, I mean, I think and also we're at the end of the year too, so it's also a time where people are often leaving or shifting. It's a good time to make changes. So again, hard to tell why this is exactly happening the way it's happening, but hopefully good things continue to happen for that team and that studio, and that they figure out how to work together in a way that is, healthy and productive and moving things forward, despite having a rough history, which many companies do, especially as the world continues to evolve and on the whole, I think get better, despite how much terrible stuff does crop up from that. I think on the whole, as horrifying as that may be, I think things do get better. Just add, the sociological stuff like adds into like workplace culture and all that. But yeah, they definitely have a way to go. And hopefully this is a good move for everyone involved. And, we'll continue to see what is going on over at Bungie. And now we got some acquisitions, starting with Tencent buying Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock posted this on their site, saying, "Today we announced the biggest event in Turtle Rock Studios history. Tencent has bought our parent company, Slamfire. By joining the Tencent family, we will not only get access to their vast resources and expertise, but we have found a partner who is encouraging us to be ambitious and visionary. Although our company is being acquired, we will remain independent and continue to run by our co-founders, Phil, Rob, and Chris Ashton. 2021 has been an extraordinary year for us with the launch of Back 4 Blood and our new partnership with Tencent. 2022 and beyond will take us to new heights." And as always with these, since I don't have like a particular, I'm a little wary, I guess, of Tencent because it's such a large company that has acquired so much. But ultimately, I don't have super strong feelings against this acquisition by Tencent or Turtle Rock being acquired just inherently. So it's always the same thing I always say. They sign this thinking that they'll maintain independence while kind of getting all the good and none of the bad. And hopefully that is as true as they think it will be. I like to think that these teams, well, I guess this is complicated in the sense that Tencent acquired Slamfire, which they were already under. So they didn't really, I don't know the degree to which they were involved in even those conversations. So I guess that kind of does recontextualize it a bit. But ultimately, then I guess in terms of Slamfire, hopefully Slamfire did what they thought was best for everyone involved, and that ends up being true, that people sign good deals and that we only reap the benefits, and it's very behind the scenes is sort of the best we can hope for out of acquisitions like this. So, shout out to them. And hopefully, as they mentioned, that 2022 is a great year for them. And continuing with acquisitions, Herman Holst had posted out a tweet a number of days ago saying, "Today we announced Valkyrie Entertainment will be joining the PlayStation Studios family. The studio will be making invaluable contributions to key PlayStation Studios franchises." And it's very much a support studio. Previously, one notable support that it ran for PlayStation was God of War 2018. So to me, this is a very vanilla, but probably a significant acquisition in the sense that we might not really be talking about it constantly as, wow, look at the great things coming out of Valkyrie Entertainment if they are running as a support studio, but their support is invaluable to PlayStation, just based on the fact that they are making these big contributions to these really marquee titles that we are going to be talking about. So again, not necessarily an exciting thing to discuss, because I think for a lot of these acquisitions, it's like new IPs or continuing the franchise or whatever. But I think it is an important move in their portfolio. And yeah, I think it's a good play for PlayStation. And our last big piece of news of the year is that Splinter Cell remake begins development at Ubisoft Toronto. This is posted by Ubisoft directly, and it reads, Ubisoft has greenlit the development of a Splinter Cell remake that will draw from the rich canvas of the brand. Led by Ubisoft Toronto, the game will be rebuilt from the ground up using Ubisoft's own Snowdrop engine, the same engine being used to develop Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, as well as Ubisoft's upcoming Star Wars game, to deliver new generation visuals and gameplay and the dynamic lighting and shadows the series is known for. And then there's like a little interview with the team on the project, things like, oh, why is it a remake and not a remaster? And they talk about the fact that they're doing more than a remaster would be. So yeah, this is kind of crazy. I feel like this was a weird one. I think because it's just in development and not necessarily has any window or anything too significant is maybe why it was so quiet. Because I feel like I didn't hear like many people talking about this personally. I know there's been plenty of articles written up since the announcement of like what we want from it, and people have been asking for Splinter Cell to come back for a really long time. So I do think this is inherently exciting, but I think the lack of like tangibleness in terms of like when should we, even though dates are not tangible, but you know, like when should we be excited for it? When do we expect more? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's cool. It'll be cool to play. I really enjoyed Splinter Cell back when I did play it, like, which feels like a lifetime ago. We'll see when this actually drops, and well, more importantly, when we start to see more and hear more about it. I think it'll definitely be a fun thing that people will be looking for in all of Ubisoft showcases until they finally see it. So have fun having those conversations. Now let's talk about who the winners were from the Game Awards. For Best Esports Event, we had 2021 League of Legends World Championship. Best Esports Coach, we had Kim Kahoma Jong-jun. For Best Esports Team, we had Natus Vincere, Counter-Strike Global Defense. Best Esports Athlete, we had Oleksandr Simple Kostylev. For Best Esports Game, we had League of Legends. Most Anticipated Game, Elden Ring. Yeah, people are just very, very, very excited for Elden Ring. Best Debut Indie, Kena Bridge of Spirits. You love to see it. Content Creator of the Year, Dream. Best Multiplayer, It Takes Two. Yeah, very good multiplayer game. I mean, I think it's not as multiplayer focused as some of these other titles, but it is probably the best game on this list. Best Sports and Racing, we had Forza Horizon 5. Best Sim and Strategy, Age of Empires 4. Best Family Game, we had It Takes Two, which I'm a little surprised by, because again, really good multiplayer game. I don't know that I'm rocking this with my household like that, you know? I don't know. Best Fighting Game, Guilty Gear Strive. Best Role-Playing Game, Tales of Arise. Best Action Adventure, Metroid Dread. Best Action Game, Returnal. Best VR AR Game, we had Resident Evil 4. Innovation in Accessibility, we had Forza Horizon 5. Best Community Support, Final Fantasy XIV Online, which I know made a lot of people really excited, and man, that community is very involved. Best Mobile Game, we had Genshin Impact. Makes sense. Huge game. Best Indie, Kena Bridge of Spirits, which they won Best Debut, so that kind of is par for the course. Best Ongoing, Final Fantasy XIV Online, also took that. Games for Impact, we had Life is Strange, True Colors, which I was very excited to see. There were a lot of amazing games in this category, so there were a lot of ones that would have made me excited to see win, and Life is Strange is definitely one of them. Best Performance, Maggie Robertson as Lady D from Resident Evil Village. Best Audio Design, Forza Horizon 5. Forza Horizon 5 won more than I thought, now that I'm looking back at these. For Best Score and Music, we had Nier Replicant version 1.224744877139, which I always get like mixed up in all the Nier happenings. Best Art Direction, we had Deathloop. Best Narrative, we had Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Best Game Direction, we had Deathloop. But Game of the Year, we had It Takes Two. This really surprised me, not just because I don't think that It Takes Two is Game of the Year, but also just because when I had to predict what I thought other people would think, I would have guessed Deathloop, maybe Ratchet and Clank, And I'm also really surprised by this when I was watching it, because Deathloop had won so many of the other categories. A lot of times, like, direction and other elements kind of speak to games that win that end up taking home Game of the Year. But yeah, it Takes Two, which was definitely a surprise to me. It was probably one of my least expected ones from here, but a lot of people did play it. A lot of people loved it. It was really acclaimed. Looking back now, it does make more sense, but at the time I was pretty surprised to see that take home the whole thing. So those were the results of the Game Awards. Overall, on the whole, I at the end of the day, it's people getting awards for stuff they did, and like, it's cool for people to win things and get their work recognized, even if I would have given it to a different person or a different game or team or whatever. Not too many surprises, but a few that did kind of surprise me a bit, which is fun to see as well. And overall, I mean, I think for the show itself, kind of a mixed bag. I would have loved to see more of a focus on the awards specifically, like hearing from the developers, getting that stuff highlighted would have been cool. And they did a lot of like lumping and bundling with things where they'd be like, Kano wins this award, also they won this other award, like just kind of to quickly get that out of the way, which I wasn't a huge fan of, especially like the show like 30 not 30 hours, the show's like 3 hours and we have 30 categories, but I feel like first of all, it took a long time to get through those 30 categories, and it felt very stretched out. And like the awards got a little bit buried in the announcements and ads and other things going on in performances. So that being said, let's also talk about the announcements from the Game Awards. For this, we head over to IGN with the article, The Game Awards 2021, Everything Announced. We had Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss reveal The Matrix Awakens, an Unreal Engine 5 experience. We had Star Wars Eclipse being a new action-adventure game from Quantic Dream that is set in the High Republic. This was definitely that rumored Quantic Dream Star Wars game. Again, Quantic Dream definitely has made some things that I've appreciated in some regards. I do like Detroit Become Human's narrative structure. I don't like the way it approaches race and protest. And the number one thing I don't like is that Quantic Dream has had a lot of issues and drama related to abuse and other things that have gone down at the studio. So, obviously people are gonna play what they're gonna play, and I'm not like shading anyone for playing a Quantic Dream game. I just think that with this resurgence of the Star Wars game, I saw a lot of conversations online of people being like, oh wait, what's going on with Quantic Dream? So if you're not caught up to speed on those things, I believe Fanbyte has a pretty good article sort of summing up some of the things that have happened at Quantic Dream over the last couple of years. Again, not to say that means the game is not going to be good or any one way. I just think a lot of those conversations have cropped up, and if you don't have that info but want that info is conveniently out there at places like Fanbyte and other spaces on the internet to get caught up on everything that's gone down. Anyway, continuing on, we have Alan Wake 2 officially announced as Remedy's first survival horror game, which some people have debated, like, I feel like the last one was kind of survival horror-y, but also now I gotta play Alan Wake 1, so I have to add that to my list of things to do. But that should be cool. It looked interesting. Wonder Woman game announced from Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor developers Monolith Productions. WB Games has announced Wonder Woman. This is continuing on with these superhero movies. I'm personally getting a little bit preemptively burned out on superhero games. I mean, not movies, but there's a lot. If you wanted this, you're gonna be eating this generation. But we'll see. I mean, nothing about it looked bad or anything. I just kind of am like, oh man, another superhero game. We had a new Elden Ring trailer, premieres as a brand new cinematic story trailer, and then at the end they were like, by the way, that game's still coming out February 25th, 2022. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League shows off its first real gameplay. Game still looks cool. I had no beefs there. Not a lot of excitement either. Just kind of was like, all right, well, we'll see how it goes when we get our hands on it, but there's still no firm release date for it beyond just that 2022 window. The Halo TV series first trailer gives us an up-close look at live-action Master Chief. Again, not particularly interested in Halo and live-action Master Chief, but that was there. Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, Giant Siege gameplay trailer. This was really cool because Hellblade, I don't know anyone that has ever said anything bad about Hellblade, so that's exciting. I will say this trailer went on for quite a bit. And I walked away with not a lot. Maybe it's because I didn't play the first one. I don't know, but it was not my favorite trailer, even though it was a really cool thing to highlight. Arc Raiders X Dice Devs' new game is a co-op PvE sci-fi shooter. Sure, you know, that's cool. This article highlights that it's a vibrant sci-fi PvE third-person shooter that features 3-player co-op and a heavy focus on teamwork. Will be free to play when it arrives on PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC in 2022. Forspoken got a release date, which is exciting. This is definitely a game I'm looking forward to. It is by Square Enix, and it's got like that magic, but also like parkour stuff going on. And the idea is it's someone from the modern era pulled into a different age. So it will be released on May 24th, 2022 for PS5 and PC. Horizon Forbidden West gameplay trailer revealed. Just another gameplay trailer of Horizon Forbidden West. That game looks cool. It's coming out. We'll see how it is. Sonic Frontiers, an open zone Sonic adventure officially announced. That's coming holiday 2022, so about a year from now. And it looks very like, is this open world Sonic? Is this Breath of the Wild Sonic? What's up with the Sonic thing? It looks fine in some senses, but also a more open Sonic has never really been that good. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm also not the biggest Sonic fan to begin with, so I don't even know if I'll be spending time with this necessarily. But yeah, that was just kind of a lot of the commentary online when this dropped. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie trailer, finally reveals Knuckles and Tails. This is a fun one. It was cool to hear Idris Elba's Tails, or Knuckles rather, and all that. So it was cool. And also Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey came out to help present this, and they did a fantastic job. I thought they were really funny and personable and charming, which is really hard to do at an award show where it's very like stiff canned jokes that you read from a teleprompter, but they knocked it out the park. I really enjoyed them being there. Cuphead, the Delicious Last Course DLC, got a date announced with it. It's coming out June 30th, 2022. This is the long-awaited DLC where you get to play with a new character, Miss Chalice, and new levels in the previously undiscovered Inkwell Isle, new weapons, and much more. Star Trek Resurgence is a post-TNG game made by Telltale veterans. It will be released on PC and consoles in 2022, and the story is set shortly after Star Trek The Next Generation. The Expanse, a Telltale series, is a prequel story to the TV series. Telltale Games has announced that it's working on a new video game adaptation of The Expanse, the critically acclaimed sci-fi TV show. The new game is being co-developed by Life is Strange, True Colors, Deck 9, and will put players in the shoes of Kara G's Kamina Drummer, and will explore locations beyond the belt. A Plague Tale Requiem gets a new trailer. This is the sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence, and the game will be coming out in 2022. And then some other quick hits of news saying Jeff Keighley opened the Game Awards with the condemnation of industry abuse, which I guess he did. He said something to the lines of, you know, people shouldn't be getting harassed and things online. It felt very, very, very generalized, and I think it's very clear that that was his way of saying something about Activision Blizzard without saying anything about Activision Blizzard or really anything about anything at all, which was kind of a disappointment, frankly. So there was that. We had Dune Spice Wars is a 4X real-time strategy game. The Silent Hill creator announces a new game called Slitterhead, which I feel like we're going to get wrong for the next 5 years what this game is called. Slitterhead. It looks creepy, it looks weird, but everyone was like Silent Hill, and then it was like Slitterhead. And then later, Guillermo del Toro was like, I hope you get a new Splinter Cell soon, someday. And it was like, this is a weird day for Splinter Cell. Anyway, but Slitterhead looks interesting. Among Us has VR now, like a VR version is going to be dropping, or at least like VR capabilities. They show off a new Saints Row gameplay trailer. Ex-BioWare devs reveal fantasy Victorian survival game Nightingale, which is a new shared world survival crafting game from Inflexion Games. It will be available in early access on PC in 2022. We had another trailer for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Crossfire X is officially coming to Xbox on February 10th. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak expansion has a new hub, monster, and NPCs revealed. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is coming to PC, available May 2021, after it was previously a PS5 exclusive. Dying Light 2 has a cinematic trailer showing off its world. Warhammer Space Marine 2 was announced. Destiny 2, The Witch Queen had a trailer, and that drops February 2nd, 2022. That is an expansion. Tunic finally gets a release date, and it is March 16th, 2022. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax announced for PS4, Switch, and PC. Rumbleverse is a new brawler take on a battle royale. Iron Galaxy and Epic Games having Rumbleverse, a new challenger in the battle royale space. It has 40 players drop onto a map and engage in melee brawls to be the last one standing. Doki V Rockstar music video extended cut dropped. This is like a little music video thanking fans that was like within the game. Again, I keep seeing this game and I keep not knowing what it actually is. So I hope they change that soon in the marketing, because it's not my favorite kind of marketing. Lord of the Rings Golem, the Untold Story trailer dropped. PUBG Battlegrounds, which yes, now it's called PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Not my favorite thing either. It's going free to play. Will be on, have a free to play structure on PC and consoles January 12th, 2022. And we'll offer a subscription kind of battle pass situation for $12.99, but as a one-time fee. Babylon's Fall release date announced, requires constant internet connection to play. That is going to be dropping on March 3rd, 2022. Chia, which we saw this game, or Tchaya, now I'm wondering if I'm pronouncing it wrong. We saw this game had, I think, like a PlayStation showcase or state of play situation. We get another glimpse at this indie title. Looks really cool, looks really cute. You get to jump into the souls of animals, and that's dropping spring 2022. Annapurna reveals Thirsty Suitors, an action RPG about skating and dating. Have a Nice Death mixes roguelike action with workplace comedy. That's coming to Steam Early Access March 2022. Somerville trailer shows more of the sci-fi adventure from the creator of Insides. Again, this is something that we saw earlier, but now we just got a deeper look into this game. Planet of Lana, an Off-Earth Odyssey trailer dropped, and that is set to arrive in 2022. King of Fighters 15 reveals Cronen and a second open beta test for PS4 and PS5. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Online multiplayer horror game was announced. Homeworld 3 was announced for Q4 2022. GTFO has left early access and has a full version available now. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt, the game. Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt is a free-to-play battle royale game that will be released on PS5 and PC spring 2022, and we had a new trailer from that. The alternate history game Steel Rising gets a new cinematic trailer. Metal Hellslinger Gods of Metal trailer dropped. That will be released on PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC in 2022. And it is a rhythm shooter game that features music from such bands as Arch Enemy, Soilwork, Trivium, and more. As you can see, I don't know any of these bands. Evil West gameplay trailer was revealed. Google Play Games brings mobile games to PC in 2022. It has announced that it's bringing its Android gaming service to PC, allowing players to play between PC and their mobile devices. And lastly, Spotify revealed console gamers' favorite music this year, which included artists like Doja Cat and Juice WRLD were the most streamed female and male artists respectively, and Polo G's Rap Star was the most listened to song. And, you know, some of these things were pretty significant, and I also don't want to ever say that, like, oh, this game or this trailer is, like, not significant at all. However, in the age of, like, you know, talking about how showcases went, excitement, hype levels, all that stuff that we are always discussing, yeah, it's just not, it's not terribly that exciting announcement wise, to be honest. I think the combination of it having announcements and having awards is really potent, and like shout out to creating something that draws so much attention. But ultimately, I think, you know, some of these were interesting, some were less interesting. This was the Game Awards, and it's always a little bit middling for me, and I never really come in with high expectations because it's so rare to get anything too substantial, in my opinion. And yes, there is always that the Series X was shown off there, and I'm like, yeah, it was, but like they were like, this is the box, this is the power of the Series X. Like, I don't know, even that was not terribly exciting either. But yeah, that was the Game Awards 2021. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Now let's talk about every Switch game announced in Nintendo's Indie World Showcase that happened this past week. I admittedly did not catch this one, so I'll just be sort of catching up via this recap as well. And again, this comes from Nintendo Life. Starting with Sea of Stars, this comes from developer Sabotage Studio with the release date of holiday 2022. And this is a prequel to The Messenger that tells the story of two children of Solstice, a lunar monk and a solar blade dancer. Fans of classic RPG with modernized elements will want to check out this game's moving story filled with twists and turns, its fluid and engaging turn-based combat, and its freely traversable world. Plus, it features music from renowned Yasuno Masuda, who composed music for Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Alicia, the Oblivion of Twin Goddess from developer Underscore with the release date of spring 2022. In this puzzle game, cooperation is key to safely navigating a deserted temple, whether you are undertaking a solo outing or are exploring the game as a two-player co-op journey with a friend. You'll need twin sisters Aisha and Lisha, or Lisha, and Aisha, I have no idea, to work together by exchanging clues and operating devices that can help you go deeper inside the temple. But be careful, the temple is filled with all sorts of menacing monsters and treacherous traps, which can trigger different endings. Locomotive from developer Robust Games has a release date of summer 2022, and it's climb aboard the Rose Express and investigate the suspicious death of Lady Unterwald in this single-player point-and-click comedy adventure. You'll play a straight-laced lawyer, an amateur detective, and an undercover agent at different points in the story. Along the way, you'll meet a fully voiced cast of quirky characters and solve head-scratching puzzles. Afterlove EP comes from developer Pixelnesia and is releasing summer of 2022. This is from the creator of What Comes After and Coffee Talk, the creative director of What Comes After and Coffee Talk, comes a stirring narrative about love, loss, and lyricism. Set in Jakarta, Indonesia, Afterlove EP focuses on a young musician, Rama, who struggles to compose music after his girlfriend, Sinta, passes away. A mix of visual novel, rhythm game, and narrative adventure, Afterlove EP challenges you to complete an EP of music to fulfill a promise made to Sinta. There are multiple endings based on the choices you make, as well as an original music soundtrack from Indonesian band La Alfafa, and striking art direction from Soyatu. So real quick on this one, What Comes After is a game that I reviewed over at Pentapixels. I think I posted that review at. And then Coffee Talk I have not gotten around to quite yet. But Coffee Talk, my brother has played and he really adores that game. I'm looking forward to checking that out as well because there is a sequel in the works for that game. What Comes After, I ultimately didn't think it was that good of a game, but I thought the story it overall was telling was really fantastic. Like, I just didn't enjoy, like, the process of playing the game. There wasn't a lot for you to do. Like, you walked on this train cart, and it was just, read the review if you want more of my thoughts on What Comes After. But the combination of Coffee Talk and What Comes After, I think both of them have really great ideas, and I see like so much potential. Like I saw so much potential in What Comes After. So that has me excited for this one. This is the first one of the ones I've named that I'm really looking forward to now. So we'll see how it goes. Continuing on, we got Dungeon Munchies from developer Majaja, coming out December 15th, 2021. So it's already out. It's out now as I'm talking to you about it. And it says, if you've got the munchies, then this 2D side-scrolling action adventure should definitely satisfy your craving. With the help of the undead Necro Chef Simmer, you'll hunt down monsters and then cook and eat them. There are around 100 dishes that provide various abilities, mix and match to get your right meal for your play style. Definitely a fan of cooking. I don't know about this one. It's an interesting combo. The jump just seems a little bit awkward to me, not looking at the trailer footage right now, but we'll see. We got Figment 2 Creed Valley from developer Bedtime Digital Games with the release date of February 2022. Make your way through a rhythmic world set in a human mind in this musical puzzle adventure game. Nightmares are spreading chaos everywhere in this sequel and award-winning game Figment. It's up to you to end these fearsome schemes. Play solo or locally with a friend as you wield your trusty sword to put in engaging combat, manipulate environments to solve compelling puzzles, and have showdowns. Play solo or locally with a friend as you wield your trusty sword in engaging combat, manipulate environments to solve compelling puzzles, and have symphonic showdowns against some musical menacing bosses. I only played a few minutes of Figment 1 because I have it on Switch, and I was not into it. Maybe I'll give it another try. It just didn't feel, like I didn't like the feel of the game initially, but I spent literally like minutes with it. We have Let's Play Oink Games from developer Bedtime Digital Games as well, December 15th, so already out now. This is a collection of board games from developer Oink Games coming to Nintendo Switch. Go on a thrilling and risky treasure hunt in deep sea adventure, become the biggest investor in startups, catch the sketchy rogue, and don't get caught in fake artist goes to New York. Oh, this is okay, wait, this is like all clicking for me now. I know these games. Okay, interesting. Recover supplies with your fellow astronauts to survive in moon adventure. So yeah, it definitely seems like if you're into board games and like want them digital and on the go, this could be a fun one for you to get. We have Endling Extinction is Forever from Hero Beat Studios coming spring 2022. As the last mother fox, you'll need to keep your 3 cubs alive and lead them to safety in a world ravaged by humanity. I think I saw this one before and I was interested in it. In a game blending stealth, survival, and adventure, you'll make your way through devastated environments to reach the one place on Earth where humans can't hurt you. In the end, how many of your cubs survive the perilous journey? I'm very down for this. Even though it sounds a lot like Shelter in some ways, but the general like gameplay looks a little bit different than that, but conceptually it reminds me of Shelter. We got Ollie World by Roll7 dropping February 8th, 2022. Flow through the vivid and vibrant world of Radlandia. Meet colorful characters as you grind, trick, and we got Ollie World from Roll7, February 8th, 2022. Flip and flow through the vivid and vibrant world of Radlandia. Meet colorful characters as you grind, trick, and air your way to discover the mystical skate gods on your quest for Nirvana. Traverse a delightful and weird world to take on missions, challenges, and make new friends along the way. Love the art direction of this one. Looks very cute. Seems really fun. I've only played the first Ollie World, or the first in this franchise, and I was not into it. I found it a little bit too grueling, but I'm digging this art style, so we'll see what happens when this one drops. River City Girls 2 from developer Way Forward is dropping summer 2022. And man, I really got to play River City Girls 1. Now I don't know if I wait for the sequel or what, but this is the sequel to the acclaimed beat 'em up River City Girls. There's trouble once again in River City with higher stakes, meaner streets, and even more over the top humor. Take control of one of 6 characters, including returner powerhouse Kyoko and Misako. River City Girls 2 features new moves, enemies, areas, and items, not to mention branching pathways, as well as a new soundtrack by the first game's composer, Megan McDuffie. Get the fists flying solo or team up with a friend locally or online. Parkasaurus from Wash Bear Studio is dropping spring 2022, and this is a dinosaur tycoon management simulator where you take care of dinosaurs by constructing well-designed exhibits, researching specialized technologies, and maximizing profits to expand into the ultimate dinosaur-themed park. Do you favor development for guests or your dinosaurs? I'm kind of down for this one. I really haven't played too many management sims, and it's something I'd like to get into more, and this one seems like chill enough as a good entry point. Don't Starve Together from Clear Entertainment, spring 2022. I could have sworn this was already on Switch. So this is a weird moment. But fight, farm, build, and explore together in a standalone multiplayer expansion to the uncompromising wilderness survival game Don't Starve. Enter a strange and unexplored world full of odd creatures, hidden dangers, and ancient secrets. And as a bonus from December 15th to December 21st, so if you're listening to this, you still have time, Nintendo Switch Online members can download and try the original Don't Starve Nintendo Switch Edition in the latest game trial if you want to just get a taste of the general gameplay. I love the art of this one. I did try to play this, and it didn't really work for me. A little too mysterious in what you do, a little bit too open for my taste, but really striking art, and I know a lot of people that love this one. And then you already know what it is, Chicory: A Colorful Tale from Team Chicory, December 15th, 2021. So if you're listening to this, it's out now. This is a painting adventure game about someone trying to be somebody. Chicory: A Colorful Tale takes place in a coloring book world where you can draw on anything. Use your painting powers to explore new places, solve puzzles, help your friends, and change the world. Chicory, a superstar artist and wielder of the brush, is missing, and the color in the land has vanished without her. It's up to you, Chicory's #1 fan, to pick up the brush and fill in for her. It's a big job, but you're ready for it, probably. This is one of my favorite games of the year. I love this game to bits and pieces. It was previously only on PlayStation. Now it's on Switch. A lot of people were like, I want this on Switch because of the painting mechanic and just wanting it on handheld. Like, go play this game. It is so good. I have nothing but good things to say about it. I platinumed it on PlayStation. It is one of my favorite things ever. Go play Chicory. We got Baby Storm from Baby Corp, release date January 21st, 2021. Baby Storm is a cooperative party game. Watch over unpredictable kids as they unleash chaos in kindergarten, maintain order, run, clean, and feed your way to the highest score in solo or up to 4 players. We got Grime from Acapara Games, release date summer 2022. It says, if you've been wondering what your favorite streamers have to say about Grime, wonder no longer. Crush your foes. Crush your foes with living weapons and consume their essence with your sentient black hole. Grime is a fast and unforgiving Souls-like Metroidvania. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of this one. Really dark art style. Then we have Gerda, A Flame in Winter from Portaplay, coming 2022. When the snow stops falling, the small Danish village of Tinglev will no longer be the same. Walk the path of Gerda as her quiet life is turned upside down during World War II occupation of her home. Choose where to go, how to act, who to trust in this intimate narrative RPG-light experience inspired by real-life events. This one seems really cool. It definitely seems like it'll get dark, but I'm digging the art style and the overall like concept of it. Yeah, I'm down for this one. This seems interesting. Timeline comes from Unique Studios and is dropping December 15th, so already out. It says, every second matters in Timeline, a stealth puzzle adventure that lets you control time like a media player. Perceive future events to plan your escape strategy from the past, sneak past enemies, and manipulate time in this companionship journey, featuring a mysterious cat and a little girl with precognitive powers. Control both the girl and the cat simultaneously, timing their movements and actions to complement each other, escape detection, distract enemies, and ultimately escape the world they're trapped in. Behind the Frames from Silver Lining Studios, spring 2022, guide brushstrokes and solve a variety of puzzles to help an artist complete her masterpiece amid her brusque neighbor's gaze and his pesky cat. As her painting starts to take shape, uncover an emotional tale of chance and artistry revealed behind unrelated yet familiar moments. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this one before. It seems interesting. Another painting game. I'm down for this one. Omori from developer Omocat LLC, spring 2022. Travel back and forth between two strange and vibrant worlds, each one brimming with colorful friends and foes, to uncover a forgotten path. You'll experience an unconventional story and turn-based battle system, supplemented by warm illustrations from renowned artist Omocat, who also produced, wrote, directed, and coded much of the game. Oh, I'm familiar with this artist. I think I have clothing from this artist, actually. But I'm not sure what to make of the title. I mean, I think the art is really striking. The concept sounds sound, so we'll see what happens with this one. And that's everything from the Indie World Showcase. A few things for me to personally be excited about. Nothing too wild. The Chicory Report, I think, was like one of the biggest things that was there because it was highly anticipated, and that game is fantastic and I think totally belongs on Switch. But hopefully you also found some fun things to wishlist within that. Moving on to the For the Free section, some Nintendo Online updates. Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Nintendo Switch Online to the N64 section in January. And 5 additional Sega Genesis games are available now on Nintendo Switch Online, plus expansion pack members. So you do need the expansion pack to do this because these are Sega Genesis games. And the games are Altered Beast, Toe Jam and Earl, Dynamite Heady, and Sword of Vermilion, as well as Thunder Force 2. And now let's talk about merch. There are new DualSense wireless controller colors arriving next month, followed by new PS5 console colors. And if you're watching the video version, you can see these colors on display right here. We got Nova Pink, Starlight Blue, and Galactic Purple joining the Galaxy-inspired color offerings, which just sort of seem to imply that there might be additional like runs of like groupings of colors, with this being like the Galaxy one and then other ones maybe coming later. Overall, I'm not totally in love with the look of these. I think I just really like the white of the console. Normally I'd go for like the blue or like the pink, but the pink is like super, super hot pink. So I don't know. And the blue is kind of like darker than I'd like. I'm really more of a pastel person when it comes to colors, but I'd consider these, especially because we have 2 PS5s in the house, my boyfriend's and mine. It'd be nice to really, really easily distinguish them at a quick glance. And this would be a way to do that. One other thing that I think is nice about this is the price point, which I believe the covers are going to be around like that $50-$60 range, which if you think about it, like what I'd love to see with these console covers is special edition ones for certain games, because then you can just really easily like add them and have them, and it'd be so much cheaper than like how we've done special editions before, where you buy an entire console, which is kind of insane of an ask. So I'd love to see that come this way. And that does it for all the stories we have for this week, and that it concludes the show for this year. Thank you so much for watching over on youtube.com/Gameonysus and for listening on podcast services. And I always mention, rating the show on Apple, but now you can also rate the show on Spotify. So please head over to Spotify and rate the show. Even if you don't listen to it on Spotify, download it, go through an episode, rate it on Spotify. Getting those ratings up helps the show a whole lot. So if you can do that, I would appreciate y'all doing that. And as always, a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. You too can join over on patreon.com/Gameonysus with rewards as low as the $1 tier all the way up to the $25 tier. And as always, I will see y'all here next time. Bye.